to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is Thursday, February 22nd. This is City Council regular meeting. Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Stefano?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Here.
Mr. Vigero? Mr. Pinella?
Here. Need a motion to approve the minutes of February 8th, 2018.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fulkerson.
Second.
Second, Mr. Stefano. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes. Adoption of agenda. We have prepared agenda. Requests to be heard. We have nobody requesting to be heard tonight. Amendments to the agenda. Adoption of final agenda. I need a motion to adopt the final agenda.
Motion.
Mr. Stefano.
Second.
Second, Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes. Public comments and correspondence, no expression of public comments, and we have none here. Administrative comments.
Yeah, I have some.
Go ahead, Mayor.
I want to inform you that Eric Lee Perry has resigned from the Newcastle Fire Department effective February 22nd, 2018. That would be today. I want to take this opportunity to thank Eric for his 30 years of service to the community, not only as a firefighter, but in particular as the fire chief for the past year, and his work in the code department as his supervisors. With his resignation, I will present a candidate at the next caucus meeting on March the 6th, 2018 for the fire chief's position. Under code, Anthony Choppy, or Chopper, will continue as the working foreman and report to the mayor, or report to me on a daily basis. Just want to share that with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything from Solicitor?
No, thank you.
City written communications, none. Fiscal and contractual transactions, authorization to bid, none. Receipt of bids. Motion to authorize the city clerk to open the bids for Cascade Park Pool Access Road Bridge.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fulkerson.
Second.
Second, Mr. Stefano. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes.
First bid is from Thornberry Incorporated, 700 Calico Road, West Sunbury, PA, 16061. This bid was received on 2/22/2018 at 2:06 p.m. Base bid. The base bid is 65,000 even.
55?
65,000.
Oh, 65.
Even. Optional bid number 1 is 112,200 even. $112,200 even.
$112,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Option number 2 would be $145,200 even. Optional bid number 3, 0. And optional bid number 4 is 0.
Okay.
Assuming those are prevailing wage rates, base bid and optional bid. So I know Brad's here tonight, I'm assuming they
It's
just.
glad to be here.
Yeah, the reason we broke that out was we anticipated the original bid, the base bid, to be underneath the $100,000 threshold since the bridge project. But if we were gonna select one of the optional bids, we knew it was gonna probably be over the 100,000 mark, so that's why we broke it out separately, so we'd have that number to know what it would be to bump it up from just standard wage is the prevailing wage if we got over that 100,000 threshold. I don't know why it would have hit 0 though.
Can we, after the next bid, can, he do a
Yes,
little
there's bid.
explanation of the difference? I think every council member needs to know what the base bid is, and
Yeah.
go from there. Could you do that for us,
Sure
please?
thing, yeah, it's not a problem.
Thank you.
They did provide a bid bond. And I'm stuck. Wait, there's the first page.
We'll just throw it over to.
Just
the
throw it to
solicitor.
Jason, that's right. Okay, and the second bid is from Clearwater Construction, P.O. Box 231, 1040 Perry Highway, Mercer, PA, 16137. This was received on 2/22/18 at 3:00 p.m. Alright, so. I'm gonna have to do this in a while, I forgot I need a letter opener.
Well, I was gonna say, you could buy one off of city council contingency fund if you need to.
Okay, what do we got here? Alright, the base bid is, wow, $135,000 even. Option number 1 is $102,000 even. Option 2 is $132,000 even. And option 3 is 0 again, and option 4 is 0. And there is a bid bond.
That it?
Yep, that's all I received.
I motion to receive and refer to administration for study report back to city council of acceptance of the bids. Do I hear so?
We're gonna hear from Brian first.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
Take
okay,
motion.
we'll make the motion,
yeah,
then
we
we'll,
accept about the motion, yeah.
okay,
Right.
I'll motion.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Mr. Sapino?
No discussion, no, I'm sorry, yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes,
Mr. Pinella?
Yes.
I'm on now.
You want me to just sit here or?
No, you need to talk, we have to
I
record
gotcha.
all this.
Okay.
Brad, just make sure you talk in the microphone so the recording picks it up. That's all.
Gotcha. So you just want me to go over what all the bids were for basically everything?
Give
The
your
base-
name first.
Oh, Brad Knappich with RER Engineering.
Okay.
The base bid was essentially to replace the eastern half of the bridge deck. So demoing the existing that half as well as replacing it. Optional bid number 1 and 2, those were to basically go through in all the existing bridge steel, basically prep it and then paint it. Optional bid number 1 would have been solely for prepping it with power tools and then going through and painting it with as a 3-coat system. It's a rust inhibitor, an epoxy primer, and a top coat. And then optional bid number 2 is to go the route of, we wanted to try to get a good feel of another prep route, which is a little bit better prep wise, which was blasting it, but there's more containment obviously, because that was the paint on, or the primer on the bridge was found to have lead in it.
Right.
So the power tool prep, obviously you'd have more time in actually doing the prep work itself, but less containment. And then it's the other way around with the blasting, you're, more containment, but less time to actually do the prep work. And then optional bid number 3 and 4, those were essentially supposed to be for the prevailing wages associated. If we picked the base bid and one of the optional bids, that was supposed to be for the additional amount of, the change, difference in labor, associated with bumping up from standard wage rates up to prevailing wage.
Can I ask you a question then, Brad? This 65,000 base bid, you have to take that bid and then either option 1 or 2 to coincide with that. So you add those two numbers together.
Mhm.
So if I'm not mistaken, this gentleman here, base bid was 135, and if we took his option 1 at a 102, that makes him at 237 total bid package.
Correct.
So if we went with Thornberry, we add the 65 either to option 1 or option 2.
Correct. That's if you wanna go with either route. That's why we made them optional bids, because if it was, ended up being too much to do the steel work, you know, we could just do the concrete deck, if that's what you
Well,
wanted to do.
here's what I'm looking at. I think we set aside 150,000.
150,
How much?
150.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, 150. So whichever number we take, we're over the budget.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right.
So we just can't do the base bid at 65, could we?
Yes, you could,
We could.
yes.
That's just concrete.
And then basically none of the optional bids would apply, because with this being a bridge project, as long as you don't exceed that $100,000 benchmark, then you don't have to do prevailing wage, cause it's a bridge project.
Well, I'm not so much worried about the prevailing wage. What I'm worried about is what type of package, if this council recommended to go with the 65, are we gonna have a bridge that's gonna last for some years out there and be sufficient once the swimming pool and everything opens for the bus traffic and everything like that?
I think you would. I mean, the bridge deck's obviously gonna be there, but what you can always go is another route too, is if you decide not to go with the painting now because it is over budget, what you could do is possibly put that out to bid in the following year, that you can come back. We're just trying to do it at the same time, because obviously if you've got a contract out there doing one thing, it's gonna be cheaper because you have to do some scaffolding and containment anyway, you know what I mean?
Right.
Access into it, so. I hope that
Well,
answered your question.
I'm not ready to make a decision. I think we need to discuss this.
Yeah, I much rather wait and see when we have our visitor on March 6th from the
Gail Young.
Gail Young, and,
Yeah.
and see where they're at in their fundraising capacity, and, I mean, I'm even prepared to say, you know, can you guys help us out here?
Well, we can table it,
Sure.
till,
You know,
till
Yeah, I mean, we don't,
Right.
we don't have to vote on Thursday. We can
No,
hold the
we-
bid.
No, there was
The
no
dates
vote,
are-
there was no vote tonight anyway, so.
No vote.
Oh,
This is
that's
just-
right,
this
I'm
is-
sorry.
So
I'm-
you guys can discuss it again on the 6th and tell me if you want it on the agenda on the 8th,
Right.
that's fine.
Okay,
That would
is
be
that
okay,
fair
that's
enough for
fair enough.
everybody?
That's good.
Put it on the caucus for the 6th.
I'll put it on the caucus for the 6th,
and
and
then we-
you
Should
guys
we
decide.
have him here again in case there's
Well,
any
it-
other questions?
I really, he knows more about it than all of us know,
That's
so.
what I'm saying.
Of course, it didn't take too much for that for me. If he can be here, that'd be great.
Yeah,
For
We have the
copy.
same time, March
yeah,
6th, same
March
time.
6th,
Okay.
please be
Same time.
here.
I appreciate it. We
Yeah,
appreciate
no
you
problem.
coming down.
6:30.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
for all your
Brian.
work.
Reports of officials, bureaus, commissions, city council, regular reports, none, special reports, none, city council reports required.
Mr. Sabano?
No, I have nothing tonight.
Mr. Smith?
I just had one inquiry. By chance, over the weekend, was there a coal patch being done in the city somewhere?
Yes.
There was,
Downtown.
Two places.
Two
Not
places.
Two places.
They,
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday, they were downtown both days.
Did it stick with the snow and the plows?
My guess is probably not, but I don't know that for sure. But they did do downtown on Saturday, they spent all day Saturday downtown.
It's a little better than it was, I will say that much.
I take that back. They spent all day Saturday downtown, and then Saturday night, there was snow call out. I don't think they patched Sunday.
I
I
I
didn't
don't
see
know
him
about
patching
that.
Sunday.
I
I did
know
see
for
him
sure they
downtown
patched
Saturday.
Saturday. I can't speak whether or not they patched on Sunday, but they did do it Saturday.
I mean, I know the snow came in late morning and went through the evening. I just,
Didn't it rain too?
it was a changeover.
Yeah,
That's a changeover.
it was a little bit
started-
everything.
Okay. I wasn't here.
No,
They
you
got-
weren't, but Saturday morning
They
was
got called
dry.
out, they worked
Okay.
7 to 3 Saturday daylight. I know that they went out for overtime about 8 o'clock Saturday night, so.
I
Not sure
would-
what time it started, but.
When I seen them downtown, it was dry, on Saturday. Okay?
And we've been getting obviously complaints about everywhere, but Saturday, the mayor was still away, so I made the tell them to focus Saturday on downtown. We had the street sweeper out, and I had them filling some of those huge craters, especially going down like by Hazel's in that area,
Mhm.
because we were just getting so many complaints, so. I'm not saying it was a good decision, but I did tell them to do it.
It helped out. I'm not gonna say, some of it may have come right back up, but who knows?
That's a possibility.
Any other,
It's cold patch.
Just a waste of
That's
time.
cool. Any other,
No, I'm done.
okay, resolutions on the
Wait.
table?
Tim?
Mr. Fulkerson?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
you don't have to apologize.
I didn't realize you
You
were-
don't have to apologize. The only thing I'd like to say is, I know that the administration is working due diligence and the mayor's come back to a real quagmire. But I can say this on behalf of the residents of the city of Newcastle, he's sending letters, making phone calls, doing everything he possibly can to put something together so that when, Mount Airy's does come to town, he's gonna be ready and put a package out there. And I'm not gonna go into the details of the package because it's not fair, because, we don't know who's out there and what they're looking to do either. But I can tell you this much, it's been ongoing early morning till late at night, and, he's using every connection he can that we have in Lawrence County to possibly get help from the Commonwealth and everybody else. So, I don't want people to think that, that the administration is sitting on their laurels and just not doing nothing. We know it's a rough road to hoe, we know it's gonna be a long shot, but, he's given it everything he's got, so I do appreciate that. I just want the taxpayers to know that.
Thank you.
Anybody else, anything else?
Mr. Powell?
Nothing. Resolutions on the table, none. Move from the table and act on none. New resolutions. I have a motion to approve, R 2018-018, and that's authorization to promote Brian Lombardo as a full-time police officer. He's on the list and he's part-time and was recommended by, the chief.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Stefano, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes. R 2018-019, motion to approve accepting the fire company emergency medical service grant amount of $14,307.66. I hear a motion to approve it.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fulkerson, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes. R 2018-020, need motion to approve authorizing mayor and city council to enter a 3-year agreement with UniFirst for supply of mats and janitorial supplies at City Hall. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Stefano, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Fulkerson. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes. For final action, a motion to remove from the table CB 2018-01, amending this codified ordinance of the city of Newcastle. I think this deals with, the change in the procedure to bidding situation. This was introduced by Mr. Smith at the 2017 meeting. Should be 18 mean, they have typed 17. Motion removed from the table.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Smith, second.
Second.
Stefano. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes. Now I motion to adopt the, CB 2018-01, which is amending, supplementing the codified ordinances.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Smith.
Second.
Mr. Stefano, any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinella?
Yes. CB 2018-02, this is changing the roadway restrictions on Apple Way from Fall Street for the ATM access driveway, making a two-way traffic part of the way down. I need a motion to remove it from the table.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Stefano.
Second.
Second, Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Sedano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pennella?
Yes, I need a motion to adopt CB 201802, which is the motion on restriction of Apple Way making it two-way.
Motion.
Mr. Stefano, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Fulkerson. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Sedano?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Pennella?
Yes. Is there any new business at all? No,
I believe so.
no executive meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there your motion to adjourn?
Motion.
By Mr. Fulkerson, second.
Second.
Second by Stefano.
Six
Take a vote.
6:50 PM.